And then there are little tiny baby worms in it, like that. We're Stephen and Mags, and together with our 3 kids, Louis, Neve and Oliver, we're starting out on the biggest adventure of our lives, swapping city life for an off-grid homestead. After years of dreaming about making a change, we sold our house in the UK, packed up all our belongings and made the 1,500-mile trip to southern Spain, with the hopes of creating the dream family home and a new life in the sun. Follow our story from the very beginning as we begin the journey of creating our off-grid home. Morning everyone, and buenos dias. We're back with another one. I just want to say before I start walking is that I've tried to film this intro twice, and now the chickens have all come for the noses to see exactly what I'm doing because I keep coming back to the same spot. But I am back on the same spot. I want to start again. So, good morning, and we're starting this week with a mistake. So, we've done this twice this week. We sorted out the irrigation last week, planted all the new crops, etc. And twice this week we've been to feed the chickens and then go and have breakfast. But what I hadn't remembered is that I'd left the irrigation water on, and twice this week we've flooded the field. So I'm not quite sure whether or not the potatoes that we planted are going to survive now, whether they'll rot in the ground because it's been too wet. And when I say flooded, I mean flooded. And I know some people do flood irrigate, but I don't know whether you do that for potatoes or not. The rest of the plants are loving it, but this is what we're faced with. Like, it's been an hour since I turned it off, and it's not sinking in. But it's escaped out the door and down all the rows. They're pretty much the same. Now, it doesn't look that bad, does it? Really? Until you step in the row and realise that all the hay is just actually floating on top of the water. Ooh, and if you stand too close to it, your feet start to sink like that. Ooh. There's the look anyway. Everything we put in from the greenhouse last week's all doing well. That's alright, apart from now the place is sodden. Garlic's coming okay. The onions that were over there did start coming back to life. All the tomatoes are doing well this time for a change, as opposed to the last few times that we planted them and they've all died off on us. Must be all the excess water. And the rest of them are all coming on okay too. So I'm going to give you a little update of what we've been up to while we've been off for the week. You will hear that there's people behind us, obviously. Farmers are still here picking asparagus and whatnot. You hear them talking in the background. But we've been weeding for most of the week, sorting the place out because it was just getting overrun with weeds. So Mark's got the strimmer out, broke her back, trying to trim all the weeds that we had, and I'll show you where we're up to. So around the base of each tree has been done, it's been dug over again. We sorted out these irrigation lines to make them neater, sorted out the irrigation right along where all the grapes are, and now after being pruned, all the grapes are starting to come back. So they're all starting to get leaves on them, which is great, and soon this will just be a whole wall of green, which will be nice. Straight over there, we've got rid of most of the weeds around there, and again, all the irrigation pipes are all sorted out. We planted some of our nasturtiums that we've got in the base of some of the trees, so now hopefully we'll have a nice little patch of colour. And then when we talked about planting the melons and pumpkins and stuff in this field, I did say in the last video what we were going to do was take them from the bottom of the tree and bring them out this way, but we realised actually there's not enough water coming at the bottom of the tree to share with the tree and the stuff that we're planting it, and it's pretty crowded. So what we did was took the last of the irrigation pipe that we had and just wound it through the field, and then you can see some of them have got melons, some of them have got pumpkins, Some of them have got different types of gourd planted in them, but hopefully they'll just take over and then take over the whole field. And what we did when we planted them is they're not just planted directly in this soil, which is quite poor. You can see underneath it's compost and horse manure underneath, and then just a layer of the soil on top. They're staying nice and wet, the irrigation's working, which is great. So hopefully this will just be a field of pumpkins and different types of melon, which would be great. So on top of weeding and planting melons and all the rest of it, we've just been cracking on with little jobs that aren't really worth filming around the place, getting the place sorted out, tidied up, looking after the ducks that we've still got, and then going out and visiting friends. One of our friends we went to visit has got a worm farm, but he's got 2 worm farms actually. And he's been saying to us for a while that he was going to give us some of his worms. They're at the point now where they've multiplied enough that we could take some, and he gifted us some worms. Not a likely thing, you normally go and borrow a cup of sugar, don't you? But we've been and borrowed worms instead. And here they are. So we just put them in a bucket when we brought them home. This is some of the soil that it came in, and added a few little scraps in it. I'm going to try and find some and show you. But there was loads of baby worms in there, bigger worms as well. So there are some bigger worms like this that you can see in there. If you root down far enough, and then there are little tiny baby worms in here, like that. And if you watch closely enough, you can see there's another one. There's plenty of them in the soil, so the soil's all inoculated with all these little baby worms. But we need to make a proper worm farm so that we can then collect the humus and the worm tea that comes off the bottom as well, and then we can start applying that to the plants. Just trying to make sure I've got no baby worms left on my hand before I pull it away completely. Nope. Okay. These are our 3 boxes then that we're going to be making the worm farm out of. The reason why we picked these is because they've got a little, you can see on there, a little lip. And each box stacks together so it doesn't come apart. It makes it quite secure. We did have 3 other baskets, but we'd have had to tie them together or something to keep them in. But these fit into each other, which is great. Only issue with these is that they're white, and we need to be dark, don't we?
Yeah, we do. They like somewhere dark, don't they? But I suppose we can line them.
Bit of spray paint.
Yeah.
So I've just found we have got some black spray paint. I'm going to see how far we get with what's left in the bottle of that, or the tin of it, and see if we can spray them black. But we can always cover them up anyway. What we do need to do though is in 2 of them we need to put holes in the bottom of them. So I'm going to get to work on doing that first. So we've done holes in the bottom of all of them, and we've also put holes all around the sides for ventilation, so they've got some air as well. They do need air. And now what we need to do is go and spray them. So Max is trying to pick the stickers off them. We tried different things. Big, what's that called?
Mesh, wire mesh.
Big wire mesh, small wire mesh. Both of them got fed up with, so I started using a piece of wood, got fed up with that as well. And then Mags was the match
It's got no stamina.
No, Mags was the match set and just went boom, 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 and put them all in. So she ended up finishing mine off as well. If you watch me that one, so you can see there was mine like every couple of millimeters between, and then Max was like, no, boom, 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 put them all in quick. So done it in half the time it's done me. Anyway, I'm gonna get to spraying. We've got some black spray paint. Not spraying the inside of it, obviously, just the outside of it. So I'm gonna go outside and go and do that.
I'd love to see you smile again, watch your eyes light up the room, feel the sunny days caress our skin when we begin to thaw. All the white noise fading out to the void of everything we've done. We always made a mistake, but
So this is the bottom box. So it's got no holes in the bottom and no holes in the side. And this will be the one that collects the worm tea. So all the juices that come out of the top two boxes should go into here, and then you can dilute the worm tea with water and add it straight to your plants like fertilizer. In the other two boxes, the middle box where the worms are working, once they're finished in there and it's full and they've decomposed everything that's in there, that then becomes worm humus, which you can put to the plants as well, a bit like more fertilizer. But in the bottom one, rather than taking the top two tiers off and scooping the stuff out of it all the time, what we're going to do is add one of these little taps, or llaves as they're called in Spanish, a key. And it's the same stuff you use on the irrigation, so you can turn an individual irrigation line off. It's the cheapest thing we found in terms of a tap. So just turn the key on the top and it lets the water out. So we're going to add that to one of the sides on here now, like when we put the irrigation in, and then we should just be able to turn the key and let the juices come out and in straight into a watering can or something like that. Which end do you have on this one?
Yeah, on that one, because then that way it's better to be able to just tip it slightly that way than all that way. Do you know what I mean?
You shouldn't have to tip it.
Oh yeah, because it'll fill up.
Yeah, so the bottom bit, there will always be a bit left in the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the key thing sits on top of it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mind you, if the bottom of that reaches there, then that should leave you like a centimetre
like a
always
mil,
in the
yeah.
bottom, and then you'll just keep adding to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have just marked it there.
Yeah, because the worms don't care.
No. Yeah, just
Just
below
tip
that.
it round.
Make sure the bottom's not hanging over though.
Yeah, you can see it just there.
Where that one is. That's the bottom of it.
Can't see it either.
Can't see it.
No.
There. Up. Sorry.
I just didn't want to crack it, no.
Yeah.
Putting too much force on it, and that's too small.
It is, but you need it to be a little bit smaller. Okay, so the pipes don't bend like that one does.
Well, it is moving this way.
Now, the last thing we're going to do is just put a little bit of silicone around the bottom to stop it leaking. And then we should be good to go.
Not on the outside as well.
I'm not going to mess it up, I've got it outside. Turn it round.
The rag's underneath there.
For the lid of it, what we've done is used an old tile within the pile down there and sprayed that black just to match as well.
What one, John?
Either one, about the same, isn't it? That's it. Worm farm?
House fit for worms.
Yeah, okay, we need to put it in.
So it's time to get our worms in. There's a few things that worms need to be able to live. So first of all, they need some good quality compost. We've used some that's already got worm castings in, and it's a little bit damp. They don't like it wet, but it's got to be damp. So that needs to just go in as a layer on the bottom first. And just spread it all around. So that's in. Then we just need to add our worms to it that we've got so far. So these are our worms that we've got that we're going to put in. So we're just going to do a layer of them. Pull them out. There they are. And then once we've got our worms in, and as you can see they've got a few little bit of kitchen scraps, we're going to get some more kitchen scraps that we've kept. And then we like them to be in little pieces, so we're just going to empty them as a layer on top of that. So the things with worms is that you don't want them to have too much food in. They can't, or they don't like things like citrus fruit, dairy or meat, because that'll just attract flies and make it smell. But they do like things like eggshells, vegetables, things like carrots. You can even do some weeds out the garden, that type of stuff. So they like all that, but you just need a thin layer of food for them. Don't overload them. Let them eat it through all that first, and then add some more of your kitchen scraps on top of that.
The other thing that you can add in as well on top of them is any unbleached paper or scraps of cardboard like this. You'd have to make sure that when you've got the worms that they're kept cool, probably room temperature-ish, and that's going to be difficult here being in Spain. So we're planning on keeping them in the garage. We'll find a corner for them. There's a shelf I think we're going to put them on and see how they get on over there. They also need to stay damp. So when we do add new kitchen scraps and stuff, we'll be checking the soil moisture to make sure that it's still wet. And then in the winter, when it does get cold and it does freeze, we can then go and put them out into the barn or something like that. What you need to do at worms is the top. That's heavy, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's quite heavy. So for now, the worms will live in the top one. And once they've composted through all the stuff that Max has put in and the other scraps that we keep adding to it, once this gets full, then what we'll do is take it off, put this onto the middle, and put the new fresh one on top. And then obviously the top one's got holes in as well as this one. The worms, because it's full, we keep adding kitchen scraps to the top, and the worms will migrate up to the top. And when that's done, we take this one off. This one then will be full of vermicompost, which is the worm castings. Yeah. We can use that for the garden. We put the one that will have the worms back into the middle. Empty that one out because there's no worms in it, and then a new empty one goes back on top again like that. Or you can swap and do the way around, either or. But you just keep rotating those two boxes all the time, and all the while, because they both got holes in, when the worms are in the top like this, and the water and the stuff they produce will come down into here, and then we can use this to empty out and collect all the worm teeth from the bottom.
The worm teeth from the bottom, which is a really good, strong fertiliser, isn't it? So it needs diluting before you use it into your garden. So I think when we looked, one part to 10 parts water.
1 to 10.
Yeah, before you put it on your plants, and then it's a really good nutrient for your plants as well as the worm castings that you've already got.
Yeah, so we need to put this in its place for it's going to rest.
So we're going to cover it over, and we're going to leave it for about a week before we add anything into it extra, just so that they can settle in. It's moist enough in there for them to start doing what they need to do, and then in a week's time we'll add some more compost to it, not some compost, some more kitchen scraps to it, and then they'll make the compost.
And that day the chickens will be gutted because we'll give the scraps to the worms instead of the chickens.
There's 5 of us, there's enough to go around.
Yeah. So, bit of a change of scenery. We're out. We forgot that the parades were on for Semana Santa, which is Easter Holy Week in Spain this week. It's Good Friday today, and this is the Good Friday parades. So we're out, and you can see the Spanish Legion just there. We're going to follow them around, give it a little look at what it's like for Semana Santa and some of the parades that we've got in Spain, and give it a little flavour of what it's like.
Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for your comments last week. We love reading them. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Hasta luego.